Every civilization ever discovered believed in gods. Not most of them. Every single one. The ones in Africa, the ones in the Americas, the ones in Asia, islands so remote that humans arrived and never left. All of them looked up. All of them felt something watching. All of them built something to worship it. That is not a coincidence. That is not tradition. That is something happening inside the human brain. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what it is and why you still feel it. Right now, today, if videos like this make you see yourself differently, subscribe right now. Every week we uncover one more forgotten truth about what humans actually are. Here's where everything you think you know falls apart. Most people assume religion came from civilization. Humans built cities. Cities needed order. Order needed rules. Rules needed gods. That's the story. That story is wrong. In 1994, a German archaeologist named Dr. Klaus Schmidt was walking across a hilltop in southeastern Turkey. He noticed something in the ground. What he found changed everything. Göbekli Tepe, a temple. Massive stone pillars carved with animals, built with extraordinary precision, dated to 12,000 years ago. Here's why that matters. Farming was invented approximately 10,000 years ago. The first cities came after that. Writing came thousands of years later. Göbekli Tepe is 2,000 years older than farming. Ancient humans didn't build a city and then create a religion. They built a temple first, and then built everything else around it. Religion didn't come from civilization. Civilization came from religion. Let that sit for a second. But that still doesn't answer the real question. Why did the human brain create gods at all? The answer is darker than you expect. Imagine you are walking through tall grass, 100,000 years ago. No weapons, no shelter in sight. You hear something move. Two options. Option 1, it's the wind. Option 2, it's a predator. If you assume wind and you're wrong, you're dead. If you assume predator and you're wrong, you look silly for running. Your ancestors who survived were the ones who always assumed something was there. Always assumed something was watching. Always assumed there was an agent behind every sound, every shadow, every movement. Dr. Pascal Boyer at Washington University calls this agent detection. Your brain is a pattern, finding machines specifically tuned to find agents, living things with intentions, everywhere. Trees moving in wind, something is in that tree. Thunder cracking overhead, something massive and invisible is furious at you, which, honestly, given what thunder sounds like, is a completely reasonable conclusion. That instinct kept your ancestors alive for millions of years, but it had a side effect. A brain wired to see agents everywhere will see agents everywhere, in rivers, in mountains, in storms, in the sun. Not because it's stupid, because it cannot accept randomness. Something caused this. Something intended this. Something is behind this. That something became God. And here's the uncomfortable part. You have the exact same brain. Next time you knock on wood, or feel like something is watching you in an empty room, or instinctively ask, why is this happening to me? That's not superstition. That's a 300,000-year-old survival system doing exactly what it was built to do. You can't turn it off. Nobody can. But if the brain creates gods automatically, what did the very first gods actually look like? Nothing like what you're imagining. Nothing like it. Forget the all-powerful sky god. Forget heaven and hell. Forget organized religion. The first gods were tiny. God of this specific river. Spirit of that particular hill. The presence in this tree right here. Not universal. Not all-knowing. Just local. Dr. David Lewis Williams, at the University of Witwatersrand, spent decades studying prehistoric cave art. Those paintings on cave walls found all over the world. The handprints, the animals, the strange geometric patterns. He discovered something remarkable. Many of those images were painted by people in altered states. Exhaustion, fever, starvation, rhythmic dancing for hours. The human brain in those states produces visions, geometric patterns, tunnels of light, half-human, half-animal figures. The first shamans weren't chosen. They weren't born special. They just hadn't eaten in 4 days and started seeing things. And then everyone asked them what the gods said. And they weren't going to say nothing. Those visions became the first religious experiences. Those experiences became the first stories. Those stories became the first gods. Your ancestors didn't choose to believe. They experienced something real. Something their own brain produced. And then they tried to explain it. You felt something like it. Standing at the edge of the ocean, looking up at a sky full of stars. That feeling of something vast. Something you can't name. Ancient humans felt exactly that. They just gave it a name. So the first gods were small and personal. How did they become the massive, all-powerful gods that billions of people believe in today? The answer has nothing to do with faith. It has everything to do with survival. Dr. Ara Noranzayan at the University of British Columbia spent years studying why some religions spread and others disappeared. His conclusion is remarkable. Groups that believed in a moralizing God, a God who watched your behavior and cared how you treated strangers. Those groups cooperated better. They built bigger things, stored more food, helped more people, and won more conflicts. Groups without a watching God fell apart when resources got scarce. Every person for themselves. Groups with a watching God held together, because someone was always watching. God was essentially a very effective management system. The gods got bigger because the groups that believed in bigger gods won. Not because the gods were real or not real, but because believing in something bigger than yourself made you more trustworthy to strangers. And in a world where cooperation meant survival, that was everything. Here's what nobody tells you. This never stopped. When something bad happens to you today, your first instinct is not what caused this. It's, why is this happening to me? Not what, why, that why assumes something intended this, something chose this, something is behind this. That is a brain that has evolved over 300,000 years, asking a question humans have been asking for 300,000 years. The words changed. The temples changed. The names changed. But the question never did. Every human who ever lived looked up at something vast and felt small, and then asked why. You are not so different from the person who built Göbekli Tepe 12,000 years ago. They didn't have answers either. They just kept building and asking, same as you. If this made you feel something, share it with someone who asks the same questions. Subscribe if you want to keep uncovering forgotten truths like this. We find one every week. Drop a comment below. Do you think the human need for gods will ever go away, or is it permanently wired into us?